are live, guys. If you can hear us, could you do us a favor and just write +1 or 1 or anything, just so we can make sure that we can hear you and you can hear us?
Cheers and hi. That's what I see in the comments.
Cheers and hi. That was a little bit before we went live, so let's see. Let me just open. Oh, here we go. Okay, so they can hear us. Fantastic.
Perfect.
Right, so we are live in the Merch Ninjas show with the one and only Neil Lassen from Merch Informer and Bookbolt. How are you, mate? You all right?
Very good, very good. It's finally some nice weather here. Not too hot, but you know.
Oh my God.
Doing well.
You are making me envy you. Here in London, it's the worst weather ever.
Is it still raining
hot,
there?
But it is hot, but not the kind of nice hot. So it rains and then it stops raining and it becomes very humid that you can't even live life. Yep. So I'm like sitting in this very kind of like airy thing, just so
you never want to go out. Never want to go outside, sort of thing.
No, you don't. You don't. I'm afraid, but yeah. You live in your mountain place, and you know.
We're next to the mountains. I wish I had mountains, but good old Colorado, man.
Amazing, man. Enjoy. Brilliant. Well, look, the show is yours. The platform is yours. Talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. Go right ahead. What do you want to start with?
What do I want to start with? I don't know, man. Like, okay, so I guess Q4 is pretty much in what, 2-3 days? I guess is when it technically starts.
Yeah, let's tease a little bit. Let's tease people a little bit and say hello to them. So it looks like we've got a few people on the show with us. So who do we have here? Ryan, hello, mate. I'm with Ryan tomorrow, by the way. Ryan Raymond. Nice. He shares some awesome stuff. We have
Leslie
here. Ayub, hello, mate. You're not waiting anymore. We are live. Who's this? Cast TV, cheers, thank you, mate. Aziz, hello, brother. Michelle Tink, the mighty Michelle Tink, is smashing it out there. She is doing some killer numbers. Aziz, Ayub, and Leslie. Hello, Leslie, how are you? Brilliant. Go right ahead. So Q4, what we're talking about in Q4?
Q4 is right around the corner, and I feel like a lot of people have not been uploading as much as they probably should. But I'm seeing sales finally starting to go up. They've been kind of down, dog days of summer sort of thing. So those are finally starting to go up.
Oh no, absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. So sales kind of tank a little bit around the summer, but only if you're not in the right niches. There's only a few niches that sell really well around the summertime.
Right.
So people that are not uploading seasonal niches for the summer, they will see their sales kind of tank a little bit.
Well, that's another good point, though, is I feel like after you get out of tier 10, tier 25, the very beginning tiers, it's so important to make sure that you have an evergreen base. So even when sales go down, like you're still bringing income in every single month. And most people, they just don't focus on that evergreen base, or they try to get an evergreen base and they go into like the broadest thing ever. They'll just throw up like a random dog design, right? Or maybe hundreds of dogs designs. And they'll go, okay, I have my base of evergreen designs. Why am I not bringing any money? It's because they didn't take the time to actually research. They didn't do the keywords. They didn't optimize their listing. I mean, especially today with, I don't know how many sellers are on Merch by Amazon, but there's a lot of them. Just look at all the Facebook groups, It gets even more and more important as more people come onto the platform to actually start diving in and figuring out, like, okay, there's still demand, right? Amazon gets millions and millions and millions of customers visiting Amazon.com, Amazon.uk, DE, every single month. So there's still demand. You just have to find where they are still buying and where the market isn't being served properly. And I figure that's kind of where, if you're struggling with sales, that's where your issue is. You're not spending the time on that. You might be spending your time, uploading as many shirts as possible, even though they're not properly optimized, not properly researched, or anything like that.
No, I totally agree with you right there. I mean, it's a very important point you mentioned there. But also, what I'd like to mention is that people don't really know what to enter into, what kind of niches and at what times as well. So they're kind of just trying to enter anything, right? but they
Right.
don't know that the seasonal stuff is really important. And they have to enter at the right time. So like give it 2 months, 3 months. And what I've also noticed is that some of the shirts that you upload right before the trend starts sell a lot better than shirts that you put up, like say 3 months before a trend starts. What are your thoughts on that?
I see this same thing happening sometimes. I mean, a lot of my designs that sell for the seasonal stuff, you know, I every video I do, I usually talk about mushroom hunting, which is, you know, seasonal. There's a specific season that people go into the woods and pick morel mushrooms, stuff like that. Those typically pick up maybe a month beforehand, but those have been up for a while. They have reviews, they have sales velocity, everything like that. If I'm entering in a, you know, a niche right away, or like the trend is just starting to take off and I'm uploading it, it's very rare that I'll run AMS ads just because I have a good, you know, evergreen base. But if I am trying to get into that niche and I'm like, whoa, I'm really late, like I should have uploaded these months ago, I will try to put some ad spend behind them and see, is this something that customers actually want? Because what I notice over and over again is, like you said, people don't know what to go into, and part of the problem with that is, if you don't know what to go into, you automatically just think what you like and what you want, which is what majority of people do. They're like, okay, well, I would really like X, Y, and Z. But the problem is, if no one else wants X, Y, and Z, you're going to be making one sale and one sale only, and that's to yourself. And I see that totally all the time. It drives me crazy. It's like, you are not your target audience, and you really, really have to remember that. Like, if you're going to do merch as a business, your target audience is people that are going to spend money on your stuff, not you.
Follow the money. Go where the money is. See what people are spending their money on, right?
And it doesn't mean that you're going to. I get flack all the time. People think I tell people to copy other people's shirts. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that you find where they're spending money. So if they're, for example, we're talking about the dog niche and how it's so humongous. People are spending a lot of money on funny dog-related things, right? There's still room in these massive niches to go and find funny phrases that are not being sold on Amazon, that are not copyrighted, and are within the big niches that we're talking about, you know, dog niche, cat niche, stuff like that. So you can weasel your way into those niches where the money is being spent, as long as you take the time to find out, like, okay, we all know that people are spending money on dog shirts. How can I get into that niche and be found with something that people want to buy? So if you come up with something funny and you think people want to buy it, and you see some social proof, maybe you find it on Pinterest, Etsy, you know, whatever, and you put it up, that doesn't mean your work is done. You still need to take the time to actually optimize your keywords, you know, watch your search ranking, because when you first put it up, you're going to be way down at the bottom.
Yeah.
You're not going to be ranking at all, and it's going to be really hard. So you have to put in a little bit of work, and that's why I said, if I go into these niches that, you know, I should have uploaded them months ago, or it's something really big like dogs, and I'm not really sure if the design's going to sell, I'll put, like, I don't know, $5 behind some ad spend and see if it's something that people want or not. And if it is, you know,
market.
Yeah, so you have to test the market. And not everything you put up is going to be good. Most of the stuff you put up at first is going to be terrible. I put up a bunch of terrible stuff, but not something you think is bad might actually be what other people want at the same time. So you don't really know until you try. And I feel like a lot of people are too afraid to try. They don't want to try. They think that they don't want to spend the time trying. I don't know what it is, but people get stuck right there, and that's why they can't, like, move forward.
I think that's a valid point right there. I speak to a lot of people that are in this exact same situation, and they say, I need to make a perfect design. Well, you'll never be able to make a perfect design. You don't know whether that design is perfect. Let the market be the judge. Yep. Put it up there. You know, if you've got 10 slots, try put designs on all of those slots. If it doesn't work after a week or a couple of weeks, change it up until you find what works for you. You're never going to know what's going to work. You're not the judge. Remember, you know, what you might like may be completely different to what the customers want on Amazon.
And most of the time, it probably will be.
Trust me, it works like that, yeah.
99.9% of the Amazon shirts I would never wear. I think they're ugly. I think they're pretty dumb. But you know what? I don't care. I'm willing to put up these kind of shirts because other people want them. And that's our job as merch sellers, is to supply the market with what they want.
Yeah,
so,
no, totally. That's why I said to you, I love the US audience, because you guys buy anything and everything in the world.
Yes.
You know, try and give these T-shirts that we sell in the US to the UK market. They'll be like, "What? I'm not wearing that. Are you mad? Are you stupid?" That's the kind of thing. You know?
I've heard a lot of people in the UK don't wear shirts that have text on them or big ugly graphics and stuff. Is that true?
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
It's a very boring audience, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not good for business.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
You did bring up a point about filling your 10 slots and keeping them up for a few weeks. That's another thing that I get a bunch of questions. People are like, I put up a shirt, it didn't sell within 18 hours. I need to switch it out. Please don't do that. Like, no. Amazon needs their time to rank your shirt in the algorithm. It takes a while. And after it does get ranked, then, you know, it takes further time to promote it. You know, sometimes it bounces around in the search engine. Most of the time it will.
Most of the time as well, it doesn't get indexed straight away. So whilst you might upload it, it doesn't get shown to customers right away. It might take, you know, a day, a couple of days, sometimes a few hours. But people might not see it. It is hidden all the way in the no man's land where nobody sees it.
Yeah, no one goes to page 47 of Amazon looking for a specific thing.
Totally. So one of the strategies that you mentioned, you know, from your early days, since I've ever known you do, you know, videos about POD, you said start low, start low, start low, start low. And you know what? It's a strategy that's always worked for me.
Well, it's always worked because it's simple economics.
Very simple.
No one goes into the market and says, you know, okay, I have let's say I have a restaurant and it sells hamburgers. You don't go into the market and price your hamburger at $89 and expect to sell more than maybe one or two. Like, sure, people that price high, they're just not going to have the sales volume, right? They're going to have sales, and then they're going to use those sales to say, hey, look, my method works. But with Amazon, the thing you need to remember is that their whole algorithm is based on a bunch of things, but one of them is sales velocity.
Yeah.
That you need enough sales to actually rank yourself in the search engine. So if you go into a big niche like the dog niche, and you make one sale, you might get bumped up, you know, from the 47th page to the 46th page.
But if you don't get many sales straight after that, you're gonna stay in the same place or go back down the list.
You're still lost. But not only does getting a bunch of sales help you rank, it gives you reviews. Like, if you make one or two sales, your chances of getting a review is pretty much nothing. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't even remember the last time I left an Amazon review. They're kind of rare. But if you can get those reviews, and so if I'm in the dog niche, I keep using this as an example, but if I have 30 reviews on the shirt and you have 0 with the shirt you just put up, like, who do you think's going to win every single time? Me. You're going to be lost, and I'm going to be ranking on the first page because it shows that there's sales velocity, it shows there's sales, it shows people like it. I mean, hopefully there's 35-star reviews and not 31-star reviews, but you know what I mean? Like, it's so important that you get sales in the first place, but you need to consistently get them, and the way to do that is
in order to beat the system and beat other people that are already getting sales as well. It's not just you that's getting sales. You know, you're competing with other people that are getting sales.
Yes.
And the people that are in the top rows of the pages, they're getting a lot more sales than you. That's just the way it works, because Amazon is going to show the T-shirts that are selling well. Although this could be argued,
these are not luxury goods. Okay, these shirts are, for the most part, I feel like they're just impulse buys. They might be looking for something specific, but I mean, if anything is $15, you're not going to think twice about it. If you're buying a $300 vacuum or something, you might consider reading some reviews, going through, doing some checks. But if you're buying a shirt and you laugh and you're like, oh, that's funny, it's $15. Like, most people are just going to buy it and not think twice about it.
That's right.
And you see people pricing their shirts at $29.99. I would think twice about buying a $30 shirt, especially knowing that it's a merch shirt and being a seller and knowing, they're thin and, So I don't know. But that's 100%. Been my philosophy, and it's worked.
They would probably sell and I've sold shirts for $25, $26, right? They've
Right,
sold
right,
really
they do
well,
sell.
and you take the advantage of that trend, but you're not going to expect to always sell at that kind of price points, because it's just simple economics. It doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah,
And
there's one caveat though, and that's if you actually have an audience, right? So if you have an audience of 100,000 people and you've built a brand,
they're
and
happy to
people,
buy your
yeah,
t-shirt for
yeah,
that
if they
price
value
and wear
that
it, then
brand,
yeah,
they're
why not?
happy to spend money with you. But we're not faces on Amazon. Amazon's the
Yeah,
face, and we're just providing, putting content into the machine. So
yeah.
for that reason, that's why I price low. Get the
And
sales.
99%, 99.9% of people on Amazon are not brands. They're just
Right.
simple people trying to flog their shirts, right? But yeah, I've posted a post about my royalties, right? And people are saying, "Oh, Adnan, your prices are too low." And I want to address this point. People sometimes think narrowly, right? So my average royalties are what, 280 something, yeah? I've sold over 40K, 42K now of products, and over 112K of royalties in about 16 months, yeah? But what they don't think is how many pop sockets I'm selling, and also how many t-shirts I've sold for zero, and how many reviews I've got on those t-shirts. So when baby Q4 comes, you're going to
Yep.
see all of those t-shirts smashing it out of the park, and before you know it, I've made 40 grand in a month. So that is the kind of thinking that we need to follow, and not many people are talking about it.
Well, a lot of people that are doing the Merch by Amazon thing are doing it as a hobby. They're looking at it as, can I make some beer money this month? Can I make enough money
Yeah,
to pay my car payment? Which is all good. I'm not trashing on that at all. That's really, really smart to start somewhere. But if you want to grow and get to the next level, you have to think like a business. And a business looks at their margins. If you're outsourcing designs, what are your designs costing you? How many do you think you can sell? So on and so forth. So all of that comes into play, as well as competition, right? We're all competing against one another, whether we'd like to
yeah,
admit it or not.
yeah, of course.
I'm competing against you, you're competing against me, we're competing against everyone watching this. And at the end of the day, you need to have unique stuff. You need to price your things right. Now, right is, people say it's subjective, but I think pricing has everything to do with the market and not yourself or what someone else tells you. So you don't have to listen to me and price your stuff at 0. You don't have to listen to me and price your stuff at
Just
30.
look at the market. Look at the market, what the market is doing. How many people are pricing at that low price point? Look at the average pricing in page 1 or page 2. Can you compete? If you can, great. If you can't, then do what you need to do. Whether it is a better design or a lower price, or whatever it is, a better phrase, a better cross niche, sub niche, whatever. People think that they can just make a design and make it like that design a bit better and sell it. It's not going to sell. It will
Right.
never sell,
You'll
because that
also be
design,
lost way
yeah,
back in the search
yeah.
results.
Those designs are already in page 1. They've already got some kind of, history, recent sales history and historical sales history, and they're selling consistently. And people, for some reason, are drawn to those designs. If you make a brand new design with no reviews, and it looks a bit similar to the original design, maybe a little bit better, but has no reviews and a little bit higher price, they're not going to buy it. They're going to go with the one that they know always sells with reviews, and it's on page number 1, row number 1. That's what they're going to go for.
Well, when
And
you do what you just said, which is looking at other designs and basically doing the same thing without anything else, you have to think about, are you providing value to the end user? Is the end user getting any more value out of your design versus the one that has 35 reviews and is priced at a medium price point? They're getting nothing. They're getting nothing extra from you. So you have to either give them a better price, give them a better design, write better sales copy in your bullet points. There's so many different things that you can do to provide more value to the end user, which is going to make Amazon want to rank you higher in the search results.
That's right. No, that's a completely valid point right there. Eric Rosner says, "Neil for the win."
What's up, Eric?
Neil for the win. And who else do we have here? Aziz says, "How can I leave tier 25 in this Q4?" What would be your best tip for leaving tier 25 or tier 10 or the lower tiers for that matter?
I
in
would
Q4?
not well, it doesn't really matter if it's Q4 or not. There's Amazon buyers 24/7.
Yeah.
But put in the work outside of like organic search. Okay, so organic search is an amazing thing to rely on once you have, you know, your base level evergreen designs, you're hitting trends, you're getting ranked, you figure out what's working. But in order to get out of those lower tiers, one, you have to figure out what a good design is, which that's going to be subjective. But again, you look at the market. What do they say a good design is? So once you figure out what a good design is and what people are willing to buy, you need to actually put in the work to like advertise it. And you don't have to pay money for advertising. There's this really great website called Pinterest.com, Facebook.com,
Real
Twitter.
says, buy your 25 t-shirts. Hello,
Or you could buy 25 t-shirts and donate them for a nice fat tax write-off, because remember, this is a business. So there's a lot of things you can do, but like you just need to put in the work in. Because what I see a lot of the times when people ask that question is they'll put up their 10 shirts and then they will sit back and do nothing. They won't make any other shirts. They won't advertise their shirts. They won't promote their shirts. They won't talk to other people about their shirts. And they're just sitting there wondering, like, okay, how do I get out of tier 10? I put up my 10 slots and I just waited. Well, like, what are you waiting for? You haven't really done anything yet. And I mean, that's what you really need to do.
They rely on one source of traffic, which is organic traffic, but they don't realize that it's a numbers game, right?
Yes.
You've only got 10 slots. You have so many people competing for you know, in that niche and in that kind of design. You need to have a lot more slots to be able to make one sale. So that's just the way it works, you know. Long gone are the days of you put up one design and that design will sell. You put up the next design, that design will sell. It doesn't work like that. You know, you put
I mean,
up
you can get lucky. You can get lucky.
You can. It depends on the niche and stuff like that.
Right. It depends on everything. But at the end of the day, if there's millions of shirts up on Amazon and you have 10, like, you're nothing. You're a little tiny sliver that no one is going to see unless you actually do something to get yourself a bigger piece of the pie.
So what would you say the best tips of things to do? So you mentioned Pinterest.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite because that's the perfect buyer profile. It's women who have a lot of money, who like to spend their money, and I think the statistic is something like 80% of women,
80 to 85%.
Yeah, something
of
crazy,
women
have bought something because they saw it on Pinterest.
On Pinterest.
So not only do I use Pinterest like in my research process, I also use it to promote my stuff.
And what's awesome about your software, Merch Informer, is that it has the social hunter, and I don't think a lot of people know about that. Do you want to, since we're talking about Pinterest and social networks, do you want to talk about how can people use that to their advantage?
Yeah, so we introduced a module a few months ago, maybe a little bit more than a few months ago, called the Social Hunter. And what it's going to allow you to do is search for, let me back up a little bit. The biggest point of research is to find demand. I think we've been harping on this for a while. And not all the time are you going to say, hey, this shirt is selling this amount. But you can find social proof that people like a certain thing, which is why we introduced the Social Hunter. So inside of the Merch Informer software, we have something called the Social Hunter. It allows you to look up Pinterest and Etsy, two places which are really good outside of Amazon that you can find funny sayings. So what I usually do, like you said, when you're sitting down and you're not really sure what to go into, I usually use the Pinterest module inside the Social Hunter to find just funny sayings, funny phrases. They don't even have to be on shirts. A lot of them are going to be, you know, fancy. You've seen those like banners that say something motivational or something hilarious. And then you can take pieces of that, switch up the phrases, and then go and search for that on Amazon and say, oh, would you look at that? Like this phrase, this new phrase I've created, this funny saying, isn't even being sold on Amazon in anything. It's not in a book. It's not in a shirt. It's not in a banner. It's not in a poster. And then you can take that text and create, you know, different shirt variations. And if you're going into a niche that, if you look on Pinterest and you find that it has social proof that people find it funny or people like a certain thing, then they're going to buy on Amazon. You're going to have zero competition for that specific phrase because you were number one.
Yeah. No, totally. 100%. So what other plans of attack would you recommend to somebody for Q4?
Q4, I would, well, you're a little late on the ball if you're just starting to think about Q4.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of beginners are kind of thinking like that. They don't know, when they should start on which trend, and whether Q4 is going to be big and when to start on Q4. Us that have been on Amazon for at least a year and a half or 2 years, we know what Q4 is and what impact it has on your overall yearly sales. It could make up at least 30% of your yearly sales.
Yeah.
Some people might hit jackpot and have profits of up to 50% of the total of their yearly sales. But for those people that don't really know what Q4 means, what can they do? Well, what does it look like, Q4, basically?
Yeah, before I get into that point, I think that there's some statistic that says like that most retailers do something like 50% or more of their revenue in the last 3 months of the year. When everyone's shopping for Christmas and New Year, all the big shopping is done during Q4. So what to expect, your sales are probably going to at the very least, probably double if you have enough shirts up, well-researched niches, you can figure out how to rank, so on and so forth. At least double, you might see triple, quadruple. You get a lot of sales velocity on shirts that end up doing well. Your ad spend, if you're doing AMS ads, your ad spend will go up because there's going to be more people advertising on the platform, which drives your CPC cost up. So it's something to keep in mind. What was the other part of that question? Sorry. What to expect during Q4?
Yes. What does it look like, Q4, for most people? You mentioned that, right? What other things that people need to focus on, beginners and, say, intermediate to advanced?
Probably the biggest thing is your sales are going to take off, so you're going to feel comfortable. I get this all the time. You feel comfortable, your sales are up. I can sit back and relax. The biggest thing I wouldn't do is sit back and relax during Q4, because as soon as January and February come around and your sales tank, you're going to be wondering like, oh no, like what happened? First of all, completely normal. But second of all, you can use this 3 months. You have 3 months to continue uploading evergreen designs. You can take the money that you've earned from Q4, invest it into your business if you want.
Reinvest it, yeah.
I mean, a lot of the big sellers I know treat it like a business, which means they take at least some percentage of their profit and they put it back in their business, whether it's software tools, whether it's designers, VAs, researchers, you name it. Like, you're only one person, you can only do so much in a day. At some point, you're going to have to consider, expanding. If you want to treat it as a business, if you want to treat it as beer money for the weekend, completely different story, So, I mean, Q4 is exciting. You probably all heard me talking about it, everyone talking about it, because, sales go up, people are posting screenshots, people are happy. And then,
Dude, last year was just crazy. I had no idea that Q4 was just going to change the way I think about merch. Yeah, the first one. Yeah. The first Q4, I was just starting out, and that's when I actually teared up. I hit a trend, and I was just like, whoa, this is actually really working. And that's when I took it really seriously. But last Q4 was when I just made unreal money that I'd never made in my entire life beforehand, and I had a really good job. And that's when I was like, I need to devote my time to this, give it a bit more love,
right?
Because you can make some serious money, and I know people make crazy money.
The cool thing is that people should realize that work they put in prior to Q4 or for next Q4, if you've been slacking, it's a time value of money thing. You put in the work once or once over a certain amount of time, and then you said you're making unreal money, but you're not putting in any extra effort on the shirts that have already sold, right? I mean, you put in that effort for that one shirt, and now it's selling 100 a day, and you're just sitting back and realize wow, I don't have to trade my time for money. I can give value to other people, and it can scale exponentially because Amazon's got all this traffic. So it's not always I see this all the time. People talk about, I uploaded this many today, or I sat down and for 8 hours I created 3 shirts. Well, if you could upload 100 shirts by yourself and someone else created them, and then and then during Q4 you sell those 100 shirts a few hundred times, you're sitting back and you're making money not on the time you spent, but on the value that you gave the end customer.
That's so true. That's so true. Also, what people don't realize is they need to focus more on the niches that are already working for them.
Yes. Yep.
And not, try and spread themselves thin everywhere to try and catch as many niches as possible. It doesn't work like that. If a shirt is making you 100 sales a month, then try and multiply that success. Add more t-shirts in that niche. Better t-shirts. Try and dominate that niche.
Well, you can
And
also
that's what a lot of
you
big
can
sellers do.
piggyback on them. Because, I mean, you go through your sales report and you're like, okay, this one sold 50 copies, this one sold 150, this one sold 30, and all these sold a single one in these other niches. Why wouldn't you pull that sales report and go, oh my gosh, 80% of my money is coming from these 3 niches, and then go really deep, create 100 different shirts in each niche that are different, that have different phrases. You can piggyback off the brands you're using, and you can actually try as best you can to take up the entire first page with your stuff, and all of a sudden, your 100 shirts in one niche is going to go to, maybe 500 shirts in that niche, 1,000 shirts during Q4. I don't know. It really just depends on what you have up, but that's probably the easiest way to research. Once you figure out what's working, just replicate what's working. There's no need to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah. Totally, and also it makes you more proficient in that niche. You know a lot more about it, and you know the keywords. You know what works. You know what kind of designs people like. You become basically the leader in that niche. People, if they try and come in and compete with you, they're not going to be able to, because you've got the reviews, you've got the volume of designs that are ranking really high on the search. The search results on page 1, and basically you've dominated that niche, so it's really hard for them to just come and take you on. So I think that's a very good strategy to follow for a lot of people. So to summarize really on that, if something works for you, replicate it. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, right?
Yes. And I mean, to get to that point, though, you're going to have to, like we were talking about in the beginning, you're going to have to test. Because at the very beginning, you don't have any shirts. You don't know what's working, and you have to kind of figure that out. So, I mean, that can be kind of a tough process. But once you have sales, you can actually just pull your sales report, look at what's working, and do more of that. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything else ever again. It just means that you should spend more time. That when your time is making you more money here, spend more time doing that rather than guessing over here, just making whatever you like, or so on and so forth.
That's right. So Neil, with AMS, I know it goes crazy in Q4, and I know we keep talking about Q4, and I think it is the perfect subject for tonight's show, because it is literally around the corner, starting in a couple of days, and I think people need to really get going and work on it if they haven't done so already. So AMS, how does it work in Q4? What should people do that are interested in AMS to basically rank their shirts and smash sales out the park?
Well, there's a lot of different things that people do. Some price high, some price low. I don't do that much AMS during Q4. Pretty much only for new shirts. Like if I'm trying to get into the Christmas Santa niche or something like that, I'll put a little bit of money behind it, because I mean the tracking just isn't there yet. I mean, you can see sales, but you can't equate sales in your merch dashboard. I mean, there is tracking. I remember I saw Ken in here. I tried to convince him to push his spend up to $500 a day last Q4, and
$500 what? Dollars a day?
Dollars a day, yes. During last,
awesome.
I think it was last Q4. It might have been 2 Q4s ago. But I mean, you definitely see an increase in sales, but again, you're spending more money. So instead of going into AMS and saying, I have this great shirt, it's sold a couple of times, I'm going to put $500 a day behind it. I would go in now. If you're interested in doing AMS, go in right now, set up some AMS campaigns, and do them as cheap as possible. As cheap as that you can get impressions, because impressions are going to be what people see. Doesn't mean they clicked it, but it means they searched for something and they saw your shirt in there. See if you can get impressions. I run an auto campaign at first, which lets Amazon pick out all the keywords. And then look at the impressions versus the clicks. Like what keywords are getting clicks. And then so you can pull a sales report. sales report. I think that's what it's called. You go through,
Yeah.
you see the the impressions, the keywords, the clicks, the CPC, what you paid per click. And you need to start looking at the keywords Amazon runs, because a lot of the keywords, if you run an auto campaign, a lot of the keywords that they run are going to be keywords that have no buyer's intent. So buyer's intent is, if you just typed in funny dog shirt into the keyboard, that's not really any buyer's intent. But if you typed in cat with lasers coming out of its eyes attacking Mars, that's something very specific. That's something that a buyer is searching for because they want to purchase something. If they're searching for funny dog shirt, they're just looking, to see what the market has. Get rid of every single keyword that has zero buyer's intent, and then pull the ones that have clicks. Maybe they have sales. If they definitely have sales and your CPC is low enough where your ACoS makes sense, so your ACoS is going to be relative to how much you spent. Pull those and then do a manual campaign for those. That's probably the biggest tip I can do. Do auto first. Look at the actual report, so it takes a little bit of work. You have to go through the report, pull the keywords, and then use the keywords that are working or that look like they might work and make a manual ad. You really have to keep on top of ads, man. If you don't know your numbers, you should not be running ads at all, ever, until you're willing to actually do some simple math.
It's very time consuming, man. People need to, allocate some serious time to it. Otherwise, they're going to lose a lot of money. Or not make any sales from it very quickly. Yeah, especially if you're putting a lot of budget in a day and your bid is quite high, and suddenly you actually win the auctions. They start literally taking the money from your accounts very quickly.
Well, another thing to keep in mind too is the ACoS, right? No one understands how that really works. But if your ACoS is say 25%, okay, and you spent, I don't know, let's say you spent $4 to get a sale and your royalty is $4, you broke even, right? If your ACoS is say 30% and you spent $4 to get a sale and you get, I don't know, what, like $3, like you lost $1, right? Yeah. It's not always a bad thing. Sometimes that one or two sales is enough to rank you in your specific little niche. But if you're looking specifically at ACoS, it has to do with not the royalty you're getting, but it has to do with the price of your shirt as a whole. If you're pricing it $19.99 and your ACoS is 20%, it's going to be totally different than the royalty that you get based on that cost. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does make sense. Basically, it depends on how much you're spending on ads versus how much royalties you're getting from the T-shirt that you're selling.
Yes, and that plays into the ACoS. So if people can make that connection, run some ads, you're going to lose money at the very first ad you do. 90% chance that you lose money, but you're spending money to learn something, right? And so once you learn what you're doing, you can whittle it down. This is how everyone gets ads profitable, no matter if it's on Amazon, Facebook, YouTube. You have to test it. So you have to go in, figure out what you're doing.
And it depends on how much you're pricing your shirts. So if you're pricing your shirts at $24.99, you can afford to have a higher ACoS. If you're
exactly.
If you're charging $13.07,
you probably
you're not making any money, right?
Yes.
And you shouldn't be making any ads unless you're making them just to rank your shirts.
Right.
But basically, a 1% ACoS on 13.07 means a loss for you.
Yes, basically.
So you got to work out. The easiest way that I've understood it, and it works for me, is, even though I don't do ads, but when I did before, is how much royalties you're making. So work out the average royalties that you're making versus how much you're spending on Amazon to get one sale.
Yes.
Right? And that works out your ACoS, basically. It's that simple.
Yep, it's definitely something to keep in mind. I mean, I was talking to an Etsy seller a few months ago. They were running some ads on Etsy. They were pricing their shirts similar to merch. And I look at the numbers, and I'm sitting here going, okay, you're paying people to buy your shirt. You're making no money. You're actually paying people to buy your shirt because you're losing money on every single sale. Like, you shouldn't be running ads unless you know exactly what the numbers mean, or you're learning what the numbers mean. So everyone talks about ads like they're this magic bullet. They are not a magic bullet, not even close. They require a lot of work and dedication to get right.
That's right. So let's talk about Merch Informer. I think we've left it a little bit too late. So talk to us about any new features, anything that you're planning to do to Merch Informer, make it better, because it is literally hands down the best software out there. And I'm not saying it because I'm having a video with you. I subscribed to it right from day one, and it's been a massive help to me. In finding profitable niches, keywords.
How long ago was that?
September 2017 is when
so we've added a lot.
I actually subscribed as soon as I got accepted to Merch by Amazon, maybe a couple of months after.
Nice.
So I'm a very early subscriber, and I've never unsubscribed from it.
Well, thank you. So you've probably seen a lot of stuff be added since 2017.
Yeah.
So the way that usually
many
works,
modules.
Yeah, so the way that usually works is that, I'm an Amazon seller. I know a ton of Amazon sellers now. We're active in the space and everything. If I need a specific tool, or if I'm missing something, or if it's taking up hours and hours of my time, or if someone else comes to me and it's like legitimate problem that they're having and that other people are having too, that's usually when we make a module inside a Merch Informer and kind of build it out to save people time, because everyone's time is valuable. Not everyone's going to value their time, which I think is a mistake, but everyone's time is valuable, and that's why we build out these modules. So I think probably one of the underutilized tools that, just a quick shout to everyone watching this, is the Trademark Checker plugin. Like, it's just a Chrome plugin that checks all your stuff for trademarks before you upload it to Amazon. No more going to like USPTO and searching through hundreds of different pages of Mama Bear or anything. It'll line by line, phrase by phrase, sentence by sentence.
People would be mad not to use that plugin. It's amazing, man. Literally, you write your listing and you click on that box that shows you.
The box.
Yeah, it's a green box at the top, on top of your brand, and it literally highlights if you've got any trademarked stuff in there, and you click on it and it shows you the serial number, if it's been registered or not, if it's a text or design or whatever. You click on it and it takes you straight to USPTO, and you analyze it to see whether it's applicable to t-shirts or not, if you're doing t-shirts or hoodies or whatever.
And the thing is,
simple.
The reason we built that is because I would go and put a shirt up. I'd check through my, you got the title, the bullets, the description. I'd go to the USPTO. I'd check through all this stuff, and I'm like, good to go. I'd press publish, and 13 hours later, I'd have a rejection, or it would go live, and a few days later, I get a takedown. I'm like, this is so damn frustrating.
So annoying.
I did what I was supposed to do. I went and I checked, and you know what? I missed.
But you know what you did wrong? You missed probably a combination.
Yes, exactly.
It's combinations of keywords, isn't it? So
exactly.
If you have the wrong combination, then you're doomed. But
or
that
you just
checks all of the combinations.
Yeah, because you might just search a specific part of the phrase, and that won't come up. But you make it a plural or something like that. Yeah. And so that has saved me more times than I can count. Just knowing that I'm not actually infringing on anyone, or if there is a trademark, I can go to it'll show you, this phrase is trademarked. You click on the number, which brings you to the USPTO website, and you can actually read. Sometimes you click on it and it goes, okay, this was live. Maybe a letter of protest was filed, or what are they called after the fact? Skipping my mind right now, but maybe it got pulled down, and you're like, okay, this was a trademark. This could have gotten me maybe in some trouble before, but the USPTO decided to reverse their decision, so on and so forth. It's canceled, and we're good to go. So it gives you that kind of double check. So one, it'll check your whole listing, make sure everything's good. It'll highlight anything that might be problematic. So you can click on them. It'll bring up everything. And then you can actually do your final check, which is, okay, maybe I don't want to include this phrase. So you switch that phrase out, run it again, all good to go, and you can put it up on Amazon.
Awesome. And also the Merch Informer lister, man, it is such a huge time saver. And what I love about how you guys do your business is that you update everything pretty much on the spot. Like,
it's hard. People message you like a new product comes out, and 3 hours later I have like 3 or 4 messages. When are you gonna update the lister?
When are you gonna update it?
A lot of people use the lister, and I'm really happy for that. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of people who aren't using it, and those are the people who are going to be left behind because of the people who are. So I
But they
mean,
don't know that it's all included in the in their subscription. They just need to use it, right?
yeah. I mean, right now we
Yeah.
switched everything around, so as soon as you log in, is right at the top. You
Yeah.
just click on that. But that the lister has gone through a lot of different variations. I think it's at a good
Yeah.
spot right now, where it's. I mean,
Yeah.
one hotkey just zooms through the page, changes all your colors,
Literally, it does
changes
everything.
everything, enters your German, enters your English, boom, 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 unchecks what you don't want to put up, and then literally you just. So I usually have my normal hotkey to Shift R for a lot of the pricing and everything. So I'll upload the designs, which is real quick. Hit Shift R and hit publish. That's all I do.
Done. It's
So,
that easy. Yeah.
Super simple.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Super simple.
you got old me sitting at the computer, opening 100+ tabs and typing everything out as fast as I can, spending all day uploading to Amazon.
You know what I used to do?
Wanting to do anything but do it uploading.
Literally, when I first started, I used to copy the list. If I'm doing, say, if I'm doing two designs that are similar, right? That are the same, maybe a variation. The keywords, everything would be the same. I would copy everything into a text file, and I would physically go copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Do you know how tedious that is?
Control C,
So tedious.
Control V, just doing this.
Yeah, and going from one field to another, and it's just long, and it takes you 10 minutes to make one listing.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, the beta, the new Create beta has definitely helped. But if you pair that with something that speeds it up even more, like you're 10 times as fast for the same listing that you would have done manually. So it doesn't make any sense to like not use it. I mean, I'm a little biased, but you know, at the end of the day, I want to spend as little time as possible to make the most money possible, because your time is valuable. So you need to spend it on the biggest ROI activities. Uploading and typing everything out manually is not a high ROI activity.
Oh no, absolutely. Somebody says, who's that? Zakaria. If anyone has any suggestion for new features to add to Merch Informer, it's the time to say. So, guys, you're probably gonna make it hard for Neil to digest all of the, suggestions. But yeah, just make it in the comments, and he'll probably look at it.
Sure.
So, do you want to talk about KDP a little bit?
Yes. So that's dude, KDP. I'm excited.
Oh no! Before we go to KDP, you mentioned to me that you've got a really good special promotion for our followers. So what is
it? So we don't have a 6-month subscription. We had it 2 or 3 years ago when we first launched and completely killed it.
Yeah.
I don't know where you put the link. Probably down below, something like that. I think this is on
there
YouTube,
you go.
Right?
6 months of Merch Informer Pro membership promotion for just what, $39.99? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Only available for a week. So how long are you going to keep it for? A week or how long?
Yeah, probably about a week, and then we'll probably yank it again.
From now. So it's live now, right?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. So
click the link in the
limited. It is in the description. Go right ahead. Click on it. Only $39.99. It is a steal, basically.
There is a 3-day trial, because I don't want to sell anything to anyone who's not going to use it. Right. My entire goal
is in the description.
My entire goal of putting Merch Informer out there is to actually help people make more money in their business. So once you log in, if you have no idea what you're doing, please watch the video course that we put out. It's free for everyone who logs in. There's a 3-day trial, so you can go ahead, watch all of that. And if it doesn't make sense to you, or you're like, this is dumb, I'm wasting my time, just click on cancel and leave, like no problem. But when you log in, if you watch that video course, it'll go over like literally step by step everything we've kind of discussed tonight, the whole kind of process. And the process is replicable. I've done it over and over and over again, and it works. And it's kind of how to use the software inside of your business. So if you use the link below, make sure to check that out first during your 3-day trial, so that you actually know what you're doing and it can actually help you sell more shirts.
Splendid. Super. So KDP, there's a huge buzz about KDP, isn't there?
Yes.
Was it started by you, Neil?
Probably not. I mean, I've had actual books, like physical written ebooks, physical books under different authors on Amazon for 5 maybe 6 years now.
Yeah.
Those take a lot of work, like a lot of work. You have to write them, first of all, then you have to go through and you have to format them to the proper format so that you can click on chapters, and then you have to get cover artwork, so on and so forth. With KDP, so Kindle, if anyone's watching this not familiar, Kindle Direct Publishing, okay, it's literally merch by Amazon in book form, okay? So most people look at KDP and they go, okay, I'm not an author, this isn't for me, this is dumb, I don't want to listen to this. But the cool thing about KDP is that you can put up designs that you have for merch on book covers, okay? But the interior of the book is blank, or it's lined pages, or it's like a password tracker, or it's a scuba diving journal, so on. And these interiors are such low effort, but people buy these for school. They buy them to jot notes down next to their office. They put them by their computer, and they're cheap, right? So you price them at $7.99. You make a little, I think, $2 and something cents, depending on how long you make it, how many pages you put in there. Really, really, really interesting. So what I started doing was taking all my merch designs and putting them on book covers and uploading them to KDP. Now, the one caveat there is it takes a long time to create the covers, right? Because each cover has a size, and each size has to be specific to the amount of pages. So what we did is, one, we created the Bookbolt software. People are probably familiar with that. That's for like the research portion. And we made a designer that is very similar to the Merch Informer designer, but it's specifically for KDP. So literally all you do is you go in, you pick the template, you upload your artwork, you hit download, and it'll download it as a PDF because that's what you upload to KDP, and then you can go through the entire process.
So what are you offering with this discount code, Neil?
Yeah, so that's going to include the software itself. So that's like the research portion. There's a keyword tool in there. That's going to include the plugins. So we have one called KDP Spy, which basically pulls all the sales ranks for the page on Amazon. It's going to show you what other sellers are selling, and the lister, which is very similar to what we just talked about on merch. One thing I forgot to mention, though, is I'm always about saving time, right? So the whole process of taking designs and putting them on covers was taking me forever, just doing them one by one. So we came out with a bulk cover creator. So you just upload all your artwork,
that feature.
Hit go, and it'll download all the, it'll convert all the PDFs for you in one location, and then you can just hammer them out uploading.
Absolutely love it. And I use that with the automation, Bookbolt automation, which is a different software, isn't it? Do you want to talk about that as well?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're just starting, I wouldn't consider that. That's basically for people who understand the process and get going and have hundreds or thousands of designs. So me just being honest, if you're brand new to it, you need to actually learn the process. After you've learned the process and you want to upload, you have a batch of 250 books. No one wants to sit there and upload 250 books. So we came up with another software which basically assists you in getting all of those online with your descriptions, your title, keywords, so on and so forth.
In terms of sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna.
I was just gonna say we've been talking a lot about Q4. This is gonna be my first Q4 with these kind of books on Amazon. It is. I kind of consider it almost free money, because at the end of the day, I'm using the majority of the assets, aka the designs I have for merch. I've already paid for them. I've already created them. I've already sold them on Amazon. All I'm doing is literally porting them over to a new product, and you get another revenue stream. So if you haven't actually started on KDP and you have designs in the first place, it's free money.
Definitely get on it.
It's free money.
It's so easy to, like you said, it's so easy to just put your T-shirt into the book covers because you've got the software and you've created it for us, right?
Yes.
All you have to do is just put it into that software, click convert or whatever, done, finished. You don't have to go to Illustrator or a different program to convert it one by one or give it to someone on Fiverr or whatever to convert it for you. It is all for free. And you can do it in bulk. And you can do it in bulk as well.
And at the end of the day, literally the only thing you need is an interior. And if you go to bookbolt.io, at the very top, I think
you provide interiors as well.
Resources, and click Interior Wizard. They're free for everyone. So anyone watching this can literally go there right now and download. I think we have 48 different interiors. You can just download them in whatever size you want. And probably by the time we're done chatting here, you could have your first book up. Like, it's really that easy.
It's that easy, yeah. And you've got different types. So you have the music sheet, you've got the journals, you've got the lined ones, pretty much anything, right?
Yep.
And it's for free. People selling them for money, and you provide them for free. So that's awesome value right there, man. Appreciate that.
The goal is to literally help people make as much money as they can based on their Amazon assets that they've spent the last year creating, or maybe they're just getting into it. And when you're first starting, it is really difficult to figure out what kind of interior to use. How the hell do I sit down and make just a lined notebook, right? The lines have to be even spaced. So we created all that for you. We're hoping that you use the software to actually help you research all the keywords and everything. But in order to get started, like, that's the biggest, most important step, is just to start something. So that's why we give them away for free, is because we want you to start.
It's free money, isn't it?
It is.
Just do it, guys. You heard it right there from the man himself. We've got a question from Michelle. She said, will KDP Wizard beta no longer going to work? Do we all need to subscribe to the new KDP Wizard?
I have no idea, because I do not run, own, or know anything about KDP Wizard. So, sorry.
Michelle, if you're hearing, do you want to clarify? Is it something to do with Neil's software, Bookbolt, or is it something different from a different company? Yeah. Any questions, guys? So we're getting close to the 1 hour mark. I can't believe it, Neil. It's flown by like crazy. Can't believe this.
It always does.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't talked. We haven't actually talked face to face ever. So it usually goes quickly.
First time, man. First time.
Yes.
Hit it right on the head, man. Amazing. Great minds think alike. So listen, guys. Any questions for Neil? Because if there's anything that you want to know, either about his merch experience or any of his softwares, Bookbolt or Merch Informer, this is the perfect time to ask. So if I was you, I would definitely smash that keyboard and write some questions to Neil. Otherwise, we're going to end it right here. Smash that keyboard. Come on, guys. We have 41 people live. So that's awesome, isn't it? Bearing in mind, I haven't been active for about a couple of months. Been away for 3 weeks and just been focusing on my own stuff.
I think it's probably been a month since I uploaded anything to YouTube as well. So,
well,
if anyone has any suggestions for YouTube videos, I could use some of those. You could probably use some of those.
Yeah, any suggestions, guys? Because we try and read people's minds from what people are talking about in the groups and stuff like that, and we try and come up with these kind of ideas that we look to help people. But the more feedback we get from you guys, the more we are in tune with what you're looking for, and we make that content for you, hopefully. Question from Matthew Pate. Do you expect any new products this Q4? So any products launching? Personally, I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure if they're going to launch this Q4, but if you look at the code behind Merch by Amazon, it looks like at some point, like a dry fit type of shirt is going to be released. So that I'm pretty excited about. That's actually kind of like a higher quality stuff. I mean, these shirts are cheap. I think they're cheap. Most people think they're cheap, which is why I sell them cheaply, and people like that. But dry fit stuff is a whole new audience, so I'm pretty excited about that. I have no idea when it's going to launch. I haven't talked to anyone at Amazon about it. I just know by looking at the code that is an identifier for a product that at some point will probably show up in our dashboard. So
is that the newest one that you think is probably going to launch?
Yes, that's my bet.
Anything else that you think that they're working on?
I'm not really sure, to be completely honest with you. So just that shirt is basically all I know.
Cool. I think I missed a question from, I think it was Amy. And it's a question that I have as well. Does the trademark protection plugin, does it work in the UK and Germany? I don't think it works from my end, but...
Yeah, currently no. It's something we are actively looking into, though. I mean, in order to develop that extension took forever. So we'll see.
To integrate it to the UK and Germany market, it might take some work, but we have our trust in you guys, so I'm sure that you'll come up with a plan.
We're looking at it. We'll see if it happens or not, but it's something we are taking a look into.
Cool. Let's see if we have any more questions. How long I have to wait until I remove shirts? What do you mean? Until maybe
he's probably talking about removing shirts. If you're in tier 10, you upload 10 shirts. How long
if it doesn't sell, a couple of weeks, would you say?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'd say a couple of weeks.
Or if it's not selling, instead of removing a shirt, maybe take another look at the keywords you're using. They might be really, really broad.
Try changing the keywords and see if it does work, if it makes any impact. If not, just smash it. One thing I say to people is don't get emotional to your design.
Yes. No one wants to listen to me. I've been saying that for umpteenth years here. People do get emotional because they spend a lot of time creating something, and they feel like that's a representation of themselves, the time they spend, so on and so forth. But you can't run a business like that. You just can't. Business is based on profit, not time spent.
Numbers, data-driven, not time spent. Because you can spend weeks trying to do something, and it might not be profitable. You're losing all of your money.
Yep. Well, that's why they call hobbies.
Yeah.
So. Oh man.
Oh my God. Love that. Let's see. Thoughts on the survey about buying products for business?
I didn't actually receive that survey. I don't get all of them. I did look at it though. I don't know what thoughts you're looking for. I think it'll be helpful for specific people. I don't know if it'll specifically be helpful for merch sellers that aren't running a different business. Because I don't think we're supposed to talk about the surveys, but at the end of the day, like that stuff is really good for when you're trying to, brand a bunch of stuff to give out to customers, or like goodie bags or stuff in order to get customers in your door. So I think that'll be really beneficial to merch getting bigger, more well-known, so on and so forth. I don't know if it's going to be beneficial to us as like t-shirt sellers, So, I don't know if that gave you any information, but it's kind of where I am.
No, I see what you mean there. Jacob says, dry fit would sell very well. It's very rare amongst POD platforms because of the licensing costs. So we're basically probably going to have the monopoly of it on Amazon because there's not much competition on it. So hopefully if it comes out, we're looking to make some good profits with it.
Well, Amazon's already, kind of crushing all the other POD platforms just in terms of sales and profitability. For us as sellers, right? You can put something on Redbubble and expect to make 50 cents a sticker, maybe a couple dollars, depending on what you price it at. But we have access to so many more customers on Amazon than any of these other POD platforms. So I think eventually you're going to see maybe profitability go down a little bit. Depending on where people shop, though, right? You have Etsy, that's a specific buyer group. You have these other platforms, which they're very niche markets. Amazon is much more broad.
Question from Lester. Hello, Lester Jones. Hey, Neil, how can I get Merchalister to automatically select my product colors that Amazon will display when I use hotkeys?
So you can't actually tell Amazon what color to display on the page. I think that's what he's going with. They will display what they think is best. And typically,
it's usually black.
Yes, and typically after you make your first sale, it'll be based on that. Because they want to they want to look at their data and say, okay, if your shirt's up there and it's selling a bunch and red is the best color, they know that if they display the product in red, they're going to stand to make more money. You're going to make more money. Everyone's going to be happy versus if they showed that shirt in, say, pink, which barely ever sells at all. So it's going to be based on Amazon data. It's kind of unfortunate we can't pick because sometimes it's really wonky and they pick some really ugly colors. So don't put your shirt on ugly colors is probably the best bet there. Just pick the colors it looks best on.
There. That's a good tip right there, Neil. A lot of people, they just put their t-shirts on all of the 10 colors, regardless of whether they look good or not, or if they have their settings set up in such a way on Merchlister Pro they forget to check if their new design actually looks good on those colors, and they end up messing it up properly.
Well,
so
it's
I
weird
think
to
people
me.
need to check.
It's weird to me because, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, Amazon basically said, pick 3 colors. You get 5 colors, but you should probably pick 3, something like that, because our data shows that if you offer the customer more choices, they get
Give them
kind of
decision
shocked. They're just like,
paralysis.
yeah, I can't make a decision. Like, maybe I should just click back and see what else is for sale. So, I mean, I rarely ever pick 10 colors. I just pick the ones that it looks best on. If it's moderate, but it looks really good on black, but it's kind of moderate on blue, I'll just skip blue. There's no reason to put it there. Or if it's really ugly on blue, I'm not going to select that. I'm only going to pick where it looks good.
I think we've come to the end of the show, Neil. I think we've covered a lot. Anything else you'd like to cover before we say goodbye to our lovely people?
Probably not. I mean, click the link below, the 3-day trial. It's free, so you should click it. But I would definitely use, we went over the lister to get as many products as you can up in that 3 days as you can. And that's going to help for Q4 because we were harping on Q4. So use the tools to your advantage. And we should probably have a pretty good Q4. I'm kind of excited about it.
Awesome. Here it is to a big Q4. Upload, upload, upload. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. Research, do something that's not already out there. Try and cross niche. Try and dig deeper. Don't look at the surface and do something similar to what's already out there, because they have the sales history, they have the current history of sales. So don't do what they already doing. Do something different and upload, upload, upload. Even if you don't like it, just upload it if you have the slots.
And base your decisions on data, not your personal feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect,
and on that note, we're going to say thank you to Neil for coming on the show. It's been an absolutely amazing show with jam-packed of value, and you guys have been awesome. The audience, they've held with us, right? We've had consistently over 40. And that's been awesome. So thank you guys. There will be more shows to come. And get the link, get the 6-month subscription. It is an absolute steal. All right.
Thanks
on that note,
me,
we'll say see you later. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks.